That's right everyone, Dragon Ball Super the Manga Chapter 81 is out today, when it's supposed to be, and I should have seen this coming. Those Saiyans, they couldn't stay out of the fight, could they? But it's done in a way that I frankly didn't expect. I think this chapter should be just cause for you sticking with it for the duration, and that we should get a bit of a twist going forward that will appeal. But first, let me introduce you to something that I find equally appealing. Today's video is sponsored by MasakoX. MasakoX is a subscription box with a focus on providing you the best, most accurate, and most traditional way to experience what Japan has to offer when it comes to its gastronomic delights. Whether it be something special like delicate confectionery, perfectly matched tea to have with your snacks, and even the included kitchenware that you get with every box, each perfectly themed with your selection. This month's theme is to welcome in spring and the traditional celebrations for said season with the classic Sakura. The joy of Hanami can be yours with the treats MasakoX has for you, including Sakura flavoured jellies, cookies, and of course green tea, to gently nudge you out of winter and into the uplifting springtide. All of it explained to you in a deep, comprehensive guide that will help you through your culinary adventure. You can go to my second channel up on the lookout to see Philly and I explored this month's box in more detail. Or if you're already intrigued, you can get $5 off your first MasakoX box by using the code MasakoX at checkout, and of course the link in the description. Be sure to do this before February the 28th to get your Sakura-themed delectations. I do hope you give this a look, and thanks once again to MasakoX for sponsoring this video. Cheers! Where we last left off, we had Gas and Granolah going at it in a manner which was rather intense, stop it, but nevertheless failed to capture the hearts and minds of the overall audience. Much like with most fanfictions, to be fair. Despite this decrease in viewership, we saw Gas struggling against Granolah's overall power, and in the end, had to rely on his restraints being unlocked by Elec and going Broly mode. This was the thing Gas needed to fully realise his gains from Torombo, and ultimately gain back control thanks to him being now the strongest guy in the universe. What was the biggest surprise? Having horns pointed downwards! Ooh. I gotta admit though, that's a relatively new one for me. Might we see more surprises in this coming chapter? Let's find out. We start things off with Gas looking brooding, as he is taking in his newfound power and control, with the Saiyans looking on with great longing. Oh god, I want that power! But then we get Dragon Ball's answer of the Kubrick stare, and he can now somehow distort gravity, Gas, to the point where he can either crush the Saiyans or, thanks to their constant training in the gravity room, at least ensure that they can't interfere. However, that really isn't tested since Granolah is now back in the game and is deciding to instead go for the source of all the sorrow in his life. He has now found out Elec. Good idea! But it's not such a good idea with you shouting out your intentions like you did in the past, instead of just, taking Elec out quietly. In any case, thanks to his trademark shouting, Gas teleports Elec out of the fight, and this means Elec can now wax more lyrical thanks to the benefit of distance, saying that Granolah should be thanking him for letting him live and giving him a job, despite making his life total misery and taking away his mum. Strange logic, I can tell you. But at least Granolah isn't blaming the Saiyans anymore solely for all the stuff that happened on Planet Cereal. I mean, that's progress. However, Gas comes in and, brace yourself for this, he breaks Granolah's arms and blasts his eyes out to the point they're no longer useful. To quote the old Nightmare show on British TV, ooh, nasty. And if that's not enough, Elec just blasts him in the back, the same way he took out Muesli. Toyotaro, are you alright? That's kind of bleak, but it certainly gets attention. And it diverts Gas's attention away from Granolah and onto somebody else. Oh, okay, I hear you thinking, here we go. Goku's gonna get involved and steal the win, isn't he? Well, I mean, he is, sorta, because Vegeta's giving him energy and all. That definitely is a classic Dragon Ball trope right there. And with Vegeta offering his power so that Goku could ensure his survival, Goku is able to overpower the distortion field and go Super Saiyan Blue against Gas, defending them both. But you can tell something is off, folks. So don't assume that Goku will get the win simply here just yet. He meekly tells Gas to just leave the planet since he doesn't want to fight him. Well, that's weird. Gas is finding Goku to be an anomaly right now, but it doesn't really matter. He is going to use his power against the Saiyan anyway. He just wants to get his jollies off. He's still a little confused though. Goku is then the confused one when two spike walls just manifest themselves and attempt to turn Goku into paste. And if that wasn't enough, Multiple walls are then generated once Goku breaks free of the original two. I will hand it to Toyotaro here. The idea of this is pretty cool. A platformer battle. Nice. If Dragon Ball ever became a platformer, this would be a good level. Again, I wish more of the action would leap out of the panels and provide a little more dynamism, but hey-ho. When those walls turn out to be no issue, Gas then throws more objects at Goku's direction. Just your typical buildings. It's no biggie. After all, Goku's had plenty of training, but not so much when it comes to actual trains. Even Goku didn't see that coming. This then leads to a train top battle in the sky, no less. Really makes Tao's technique of hurling beams look rather pedestrian, actually. And Gas is showing more and more of his personality as he wants to test Goku's power and see if he's like the Saiyan that bested him 40 years ago. That being Bardock, obviously. Hey, at least Gas isn't being boring and brooding anymore. But Goku really isn't giving him that satisfaction. Not at all. Gas is right to assume that Goku is not giving all that he's got. He's just going through the motions here despite using Ultra Instinct. Something's missing here, and this is rather compelling. This is different. We're getting a Goku who doesn't have his usual trademark spark, and that's weird. But then we get more trains, so that ups the weirdness, but doesn't this remind you of that one scene with Strange and Spidey in No Way Home, when trains and vehicles are being hurled through the sky in a different dimension? Remember, Toyotaro likes his Marvel. As a result, Gas is genuinely experiencing frustration and a little bit of sadness that Goku isn't giving him a proper challenge. There is no fierce resolve from Goku. That is of course explained by Goku hitting his head as a young one, so he's not like his dad, he doesn't remember any of that. But wait, that really shouldn't count for anything though, right? That's a lame excuse, Goku. You've already got plenty of grit and all, even with the head thing. It's a little weird choice of words, but the overall intonation is clear. Goku isn't into this fight, and that's strange. And Gas finds it imperative that he wins because he cannot lose to Goku now, somebody who doesn't even hold a candle to Bardock. Is there a little flicker of respect there toward Bardock despite really lambasting him? It's subtle, but I think it's there. But what isn't so subtle is that Goku is now being hurled into a whirlpool when the train falls into it. I must say though, this is rather cool, the choreography in action. It's very epic, despite being sort of derived from Marvel, and slowly losing consciousness. But Goku carries on the fight, with Ki Blast in the water like with Frieza in the Namek Saga, but then he gets Uno reversed. In the end, Goku's back out of the water, and this is where Gas finds out, much like the Namek Saga, how it is they can get back in the game all the time. Monaito. Uh-oh. We all remember what happened when Frieza found out about Dende. And with Monaito slowly healing Granolah, Goku then hatches a plan to make sure the same thing doesn't happen again. He is now acting like a team player by removing Gas from the equation, like he did with Cell. Only this time, he remains in the mortal realm and gives Jaco a right scare. Goku, by doing that, has taken Gas far away from the battlefield from Planet Cereal and bought the hero some more time to heal Granolah, or at least take down the rest of the heaters without interference. Surely Vegeta could evade Elec's blaster or something like that, have enough power left to do some kind of damage or keep them away from Monaito. Or Monaito could give up all of his life essence in one go to heal Granolah faster. But questions for later though. The fact of the matter is that Goku and Gas continue to fight on another planet for a moment before Goku goads Gas into following, essentially going, "Can't catch me if you can." It's just a universal game of cat and mouse really, but hey, at least Jaco doesn't have anything to do except stew other things, as the chapter ends. All in all, this was the thing this saga needed to generate further intrigue. With chapter 80, I felt that things had gotten rather samey. They were fine, but repetitive. It felt like it was treading water, needing something more. Something to really pull it out of its rut and get things moving toward the final curtain. Today, I feel like we got something like that heading our way. For starters, what a way for Granolah to lose his biggest assets. Wow, not only do you lose your core attribute, but you get your arms knackered at the same time. Oh, he's gonna need oatmeal more than ever. I think I feel sorry for Granolah again now. We fully understand that Granolah isn't able to easily or conventionally beat Gas in the way that we would expect, so what do you do now? Well, here is where Goku comes into play. On the surface, when I first saw that Goku was going to get involved, I was very sad. I felt like, oh no, they're resorting to Goku again because he's the main character, like we've seen time and time again. But this time, it was very much different. You see, Goku is still acting like he has been throughout this entire saga. He has realized and understood that this battle isn't his to fight, and the only reason he is even giving Gas the time of day here is because he has to. He is being dragged back into this tussle whether he likes it or not, because the heater simply deduces that Goku equals Bardock and that Gas wants to take his failures out on the son of the Saiyan that had previously defeated him. He's got no choice, Goku, really. This is fascinating in my opinion. It's true that part of Goku's training with Ultra Instinct these days is to not let his emotions get the better of him, to remain calm, but additionally, Goku's really phoning it in, all of it. Relatively speaking, of course. Goku has no interest in fighting Gas because he knows that he can't win through the traditional means. There's no drive there, there's no spark that we usually see. Despite Goku getting his typical wish of getting to fight stronger guys, here there's no intrigue for the Saiyan. He's run out of options, he's got no gusto to carry him further. The only thing he can do now is try and whittle Gas down. Better yet, using his instant transmission to do so, to take the peril out of the momentary equation. Give Granolah, Vegeta and Monaito a chance to claw back some of the advantage. This to me is astonishing. Goku is being a team player. He is doing what he can to help the overall unit and not being a selfish jerk for once. Don't you see, folks? This is the Dragon Room learning from past mistakes and foregoing the pitfalls of a character that Super had sadly manifested into existence and which had soured the community at large. Even the Goku fans had misgivings about this one. I did. Right now, Goku is acting like the Z-Dates and it's amazing. At first, you think it's Goku stealing the show, but he's not. It's so refreshing to see this after Moro, after the Tournament of Power, and everything else in Super. Even the Z era with Boo, when Goku came in and stole the win. Goku's not likely to win on his own here, and he knows it. So, he uses his tricks that he has to hand to buy the rest of his friends some time to either heal Granolah further up, or beat the rest of the heaters without interruption. Or at least, subdue them, so that at least Planet Cereal and the threat toward it can be neutralized. Perhaps maybe this might lead to Frieza, or some other power coming in to aid Goku. Might we even see Broly making his manga debut to aid Goku? After all, Goku is using instant transmission, and Broly's power is very easy to find because Goku's gone there many times. I mean, you're assuming that. So might we end up with them going to Vampa, and Goku's new friend slash pupil coming in to offer backup with his now tempered legendary Super Saiyan power? Two berserkers fighting at once? Not gonna lie, if that happened, that would definitely get attention back on this manga. But yeah, it would detract from the overall picture of the fact that this is the Granolah the Survivor saga. Granolah being the subject here. But really? I think having Broly in it is the only way to get people back. I want to step back for a moment and go back to Gas for a moment. Fortunately for us, Gas here is starting to become more of a character than he's ever been. Despite him being a relative grunt to the rest of the characters, we can now start to see some more of his behavioural mannerisms come to the fore. The Bardock effect really did a number on him, we're realising, and we're beginning to see Gas stop being a generic and bland minion and starting to convey the bitterness and anger that the Saiyan father of Goku had left with him all those years ago. He is desperate to get his revenge and correct a mistake, and when he finds it in Goku, and promptly doesn't get said satisfaction that he had been craving for decades, he's showing more and more disdain toward the Saiyans. He is not afraid to pull his punches either. He is cold and vicious. Remember what he did to Granolah? Whew. I bet we won't see that in the anime version, I can tell you that, should that arise. Remember, the anime goes out on a Sunday morning here. The manga can afford to be a little bit grittier. So in the end, this chapter was definitely something that was needed. It breathed new life into the saga and also gave Goku some further nuance and acting that has been missing for quite a long time. This to me feels like the Goku of old, and despite the misleading title, I can assure you, the Saiyan doesn't want to be part of Gas's revenge hub. He just wants this all to be over and Granolah get the justice he deserves. And if it means playing a little bit of cat and mouse with this guy, or perhaps calling upon an unlikely or surprising ally, then so be it. Now, if you want to see what you may have missed out on or some other examples of our long-form discussions here, do take a look at our podcast channel here for the in-depth review of this chapter coming very soon. Or maybe one of my other discussions. I shall see you all in the next video, folks, next month. Catch you later!